guys, it's today's 7 on Sunday. Oh my gosh, I've been meaning to film this video literally all day, but my grandma actually came over and she had lunch with us, but then she was here for quite a while, and then I was talking to my parents, and now it's after 5 and the sunlight is just gone. It's not gonna be here for very long, so I'm trying to get this filmed. I'm also very cash. I haven't actually worn my Hamilton jumper for like a really long time. Like, I wore it a lot in Gingerbread. First time I've worn it here, but I'm always going to keep this because, like, yes, I buy memorabilia from every show that I go to, and I'm actually going to Moulin Rouge in like a week and a half, so I'm excited because there's either a shirt or a jumper that I want to buy, which I'm excited for. But to get on to today's topic for 7 on Sunday, we're talking about our favourite debut novels. So obviously debut means it's an author's first book, and I for sure hope that these are all debut novels because I did Google it, but if I'm wrong about anything, that is really my bad. But these are all books that I've appreciated so much, and I've definitely read more from these authors, even though there's 1 or 2 of them that I haven't read their most recent books, but I do plan on, like, I own them or I want to get to them soon. But pretty much all these debut authors became favourite authors and auto-buy authors for me, and I just have to keep reading their books, so I'm excited to get into this topic. The first one, without saying, has to be Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. So the only book that I have continued to read was One Last Stop. I do own Sarah Wheeler, but I just haven't gotten to it yet, and I don't know when I'm going to, but I do want to read it. But this book, honestly, I feel like changed me because Alex and Henry are such great characters, and I had such a great time listening to this on audiobook. It's definitely the way that I recommend it because it is such a beautiful story, and I just highly recommend it. And the movie is finally freaking happening, and I'm so glad that it's going to come out on Amazon because I do have access to Amazon, and I'm just so excited because every time I see content with them and the cast and Casey, and just, oh, I am beyond excited. Like, this book has had a special place in my heart since like 2019. It's been quite a while, but oh, I just love it so much. But the way that this book just completely blew up is just so amazing, and I'm so happy for Casey McQuiston that their book did get so much hype because it's just a beautiful story about the son of the President of the United States and the Prince of England falling in love. And Casey McQuiston has definitely stayed here with every book that's been released since, so it's amazing. Next, I have to talk about To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra because, again, this book took the book world by storm. And no, I haven't read anything further, and I've heard that The Peak is the first book because her later books aren't as great. I can't comment though, but I do own them. I'm hoping to read one of them in the Magical Readathon, but I'm still only like a third of the way through my first book, so it's not looking good. But I just love this so much, and I feel like when this book got released, it really brought back the peak of like really good retellings. And obviously there's still a lot of retellings, but at the moment I also feel like retellings have been like on the down low. Like, we've been getting them, but just there hasn't been as many retellings that I've been really excited to read. And I know that it just means that I'm not seeing them, but there was a really good level of reimaginings and retelling at the time that this book came out, so I appreciated that genre and era so much. But this is just great. It's about sirens, and I love the romance, I love the story, and I just appreciated it so much. I have to mention Tweet Cute by Emma Lord because I always talk about how amazing this debut novel is, and I am sad to say that the later 2 books aren't as good as this first one, but I highly recommend it because it's one of those love stories that has so many different layers. Firstly, they're like rivals at school and they don't get on because he's like a class clown and she's like the uptight academic person, but then his family owns a small deli and her family owns this big burger company place, and they both run the Twitters for their companies and their stores and stuff, and they start to have this massive battle online because the deli is saying that the big company stole one of their recipes. So there is an issue there where they're like battling each other, and they're starting to become like not friendly online, but they're starting to really talk to each other on this platform, and they do know it is each other. But then there's also this website that's at the school where you talk to people anonymously and you get like given names of animals as your avatars, and generally you get revealed after a couple of days, but they haven't been revealed, so they've been talking to this like dream person and it's each other. So I love this type of story, and I would love to read more of them because I read Squirrel spoiler alert, which is a similar vibe, but obviously an adult contemporary and different storyline. But it's that level of like, we talk on these different ways and we know each other and we're in love with each other, but we hate each other in real life. Like, I love that vibe so much. But I love this book so much. The writing is great and the dialogue was just really funny, and I feel like the story flowed so easily, and I was just captivated from the beginning to the end. And then one of my favorite contemporaries is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. Again, this is my favorite book in the series because the second book's not great, the third book's a lot better, and the fourth book is coming out later in the year. Like, there's only a couple more months. Like, I think it comes out in like October or something, if I'm right or wrong. It's somewhere around there. But she has only written books in this series, but I just love this book so much. And it was that month where I listened to like 3 audiobooks in like 2 weeks because my parents went away and I was running the business, so I was listening to a lot of audiobooks while I was packing, and just I was getting through these so quickly. But this one especially, I think it took me 5 days to listen to this, and I was shocked with that progress because like, it's still a thick enough book for an audiobook. Like, it still would have been at least 8 hours, and for me, when I normally only listen to like the commute to work, it was like quite well that I was able to get through this. But I just loved the idea of the Renaissance fair. I loved the way that they had this hate-love relationship, but then when they were playing their parts in the fair, they were like basically married, and just his vibe of being this angry man, and then he's just so hot and steamy as this pirate character. It's just done really well. But then also the levels of the home life with her sister and staying with her to help her recover from her accident. It was just a beautiful story, and I just captivated. Like, these debuts captivate me enough that I keep reading from these authors, and that's my favorite thing. I just have to add my favorite book ever, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And it is funny because I still haven't read The Starless Sea, and I'm stressed about the fact that that is not something that I've read yet, but it's here. It's on the shelf over there somewhere. But this is the debut that the author wrote this and then didn't write another book for over 7 years. So like, it's interesting, but I love The Night Circus so much. You guys all know that I love this book profusely. I've read it again and I still enjoyed it, but it's a very strong magical realism book. It's a competition between 2 magicians and the lives of the people in the circus that just have a lot of interesting things happen, because once they're all stuck in the circus vibe and the magic vibe, a lot of things change in their lives and they start to get like woven into this like magical circus vibe. Like, they're all stuck in this like loop. It kind of feels like it's not a loop, but there's things that they start to notice that don't happen for them anymore that's really interesting. But then also the romance is done really well, and I do like the idea of having these kind of stories, and I am getting it from the book that I'm reading at the moment as well, where each chapter will have some focus on something that is important, but you also go back to the main characters, and then you go back to where there's this random chapter about something that happened 50 years ago and you see the point of view. Like, these slight POV changes where it can just be the most random thing. You suddenly have a chapter about a chef that's cooking a bun for the main character and their life story, and I'm like, why does this matter? And then when it clicks, you're like, holy shit. It's done so well, and as I said, the book I'm reading at the moment is doing the same thing, and I just love this sporadic POV change. Like, I'm sure there's a name for it because it's still multiple POV, but it's still only about the 2 main characters, which is very interesting. But if you haven't read The Night Circus yet, I highly recommend. One of my new favorites still is The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood, and I've already put a pre-order in for the second book, and I can't believe how fast this year has gone, because when I read this with Miranda last year, we were like, oh, we gotta wait so freaking long, and now literally it's like 2 weeks away that this book's gonna come out. Like, time needs to stop moving so quickly, but I also want it to move quickly because I have things planned for next year that I'm really excited for. But I loved this book so much. The fact that it is Kylo and Rey fanfiction drew me in because I am one of those stans, even though I stand it more when the 3rd movie came out, because like, I didn't really see it at first, but then I was like, hate to love and like romance and villains, it's so good. So this book just called to me, and I just loved it so much. Like, these characters are beautiful. I love Olive, I love Adam. Adam, he is something else. Like, he is definitely one of my favorite male love interests, and he just loves her so much, and he's just this big hulking man, and he protects her, and it's just very base level. Like, he's protective. Like, I love it so much. And I just, anything that she's gonna write, I'm going to read. And lastly, I want to talk about Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levensella. It actually took me a while to realize that this is one that I wanted to put on the list, because I was looking on my bookshelves and I'm like, I don't know what's a debut or what's not, but Trisha Levensella is an author that I do want to mention because I've read every single one of her books since. She became an auto-buy author for me straight away because this book was just so good. I enjoyed it so much, and even though it does have similar vibes to Killer Kingdom, like it's not a Little Mermaid retelling, but the pirate vibes and the magic and she is daughter of the siren thing happening in the second book, so there is that siren factor as well. But I just love the way that Trisha Levensella writes, and her books are just easy to read. Like, they can have difficult plot lines and a lot of action and a lot of stuff, but I just whiz through them like every time. And I actually always listen to her books on audiobook as well, so I whiz through the audiobooks, which is still a true concept. I just always have so much fun with her books, but this was definitely a standout debut and I enjoyed it so much. Like, literally, you can almost just say that some of these are my favorite books because they are. They're just such good novels, and I just love that this is a spot where all these authors started, that you just know that generally that's just going to keep going upwards and they're going to have amazing stories. But I can't comment on To Kill a Kingdom or The Night Circus or Love Hypothesis yet because I haven't read extra books, but they're all just amazing. But anyway, guys, that is all for today's 7 on Sunday. I'm glad to be going back into the topics because I had to miss last week because I just was freaking busy, because I finally had my Heartstopper weekend with my friend that I kept mentioning, but then she got COVID, I got the flu, and then it just didn't happen one other time, and then we just waited a really long time, and we finally realized we had the same days off and we did it. But I was so tired because I didn't get anything done, and I've gotten everything else done that I wanted. And I'm really glad that I filmed my other video this week a lot earlier so that that was done as well. But anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!